We went from a party town of gatherings and celebrations to a ghost town in very short order.
Well, almost a year ago, Sun Valley became Idaho's first coronavirus hotspot. Weeks later, this destination town was at the mercy of the virus. They had the highest infection rate per capita in the entire country. But the city adapted and they learned quickly. Here's a look at Sun Valley and COVID 1 year later. This is the world's first chairlift. Built in 1936 in Sun Valley, Idaho. It's not spinning now, but maybe it should be. Turns out these same lonely chairs could still serve a real purpose in the 2020s. But 85 years later, in an abnormal world, things look fairly normal at the ski resort just a few miles down the road.
We have the ability to go out in nature in such a beautiful place.
This mountain continuing to draw in visitors from all over the world.
You know, it's a pattern that we're used to.
But about a year ago, patterns as we know them started to shift when coronavirus cases popped up in the Pacific Northwest.
A lot of people visit this area from Seattle, so that our antennas had already been up.
And before long,
we knew it was just a matter of time.
Visitors brought the virus to Sun Valley.
To some degree, it became a boot camp.
Deborah Robertson is an ER nurse at St. Luke's Wood River. Looking back, she says the hospital's emergency department quickly filled up with patients.
We were so far behind the 8 ball. We had really no idea at that point then how many people in the valley were sick with COVID.
In the following weeks, the resort town became Idaho's coronavirus ground zero.
It was shocking at the time, you know. The beautiful Sun Valley is a hotspot for COVID.
Natalie Smith is a ski instructor for Sun Valley. She got sick early last March.
I think I was one of the first.
She and the rest of this community then watched helplessly as the ski area shut down and the town made headlines around the world.
We were the highest on a per capita basis in the whole of the U.S. for a while. That was our 15 minutes of fame.
Ketchum Mayor Neil Bradshaw says the transformation was drastic.
People were walking around, hardly looking at each other, keeping their distance.
Almost everything was shut down.
There was great fear.
And the hospital was inundated with some of the sickest people they'd ever seen.
It was about a month of craziness of trying to keep that emergency department open on a shoestring.
Robertson says the whole experience became a blur that eventually carried Sun Valley into its peak tourism season.
What we did see in the summer was every single license plate from every single state.
People from all over.
You know, Louisiana, Tennessee, Florida.
Flocked here looking for a safe escape.
Open space and sunshine are the perfect antidote for any virus. People realized that. They came here. We welcomed that.
Some places, like outdoor businesses, saw unprecedented sales, but others suffered big, sometimes fatal blows. And the local Hunger Coalition fed more people in 2020 than ever before. Back at the hospital, the past 11 months have introduced a new normal. Inside, the emergency department has stabilized.
It's become muscle memory to some degree.
And outside, there are constant reminders showing appreciation for the people at the front of the fight. But 1 year later, that fight isn't over.
My long-term symptoms are not something that is really fun to deal with. It's very hard, very, very hard.
Like those symptoms, the impact of this virus could linger here for some time. But the mayor says the experience has also taught this community a lot about itself. It's people.
They were buying restaurant gift certificates. They would knit or they would sew some masks.
It's heart.
Shovel for their neighbor or whatever it is.
And now Sun Valley's trying to look forward.
We need to get back on the horse.
Ketchum's mayor expects the economy will do well again this summer. And he hopes to safely add some events back on the calendar.
The sheep will go down the streets of Ketchum.
Regardless, one thing's for sure. Things may look different, but the outdoors and those opportunities, they aren't going anywhere.
I'm very happy to be here, more than any other place I could think of in the world right now.
Once overtaken with fear, this town and its people have adopted a new attitude of living life one turn at a time.
We're lucky here, and we should appreciate what we have, and not what's been taken away.
But we just have to really stay with hope and joy. Have more joy, do more in life, do epic stuff, be alive.
Maybe they're onto something here. So while skiing will forever define Sun Valley's past, perhaps the future will be built on something even more revolutionary than these first cables and chairs. Denny Hawkins, CBS 2 News.